All right, first and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, glory to the Most High, Yahweh, in the name of his only begotten Son, who the world calls Jesus. His name is Yahweh Shai in the Hebrew. Welcome to another TOC Sabbath Day class on our channel here, TOC in the Scripts. And today's class, Secrets in the Covenant. We just want to welcome each and every one of you to our class, whether you join us from North America, South America, West Africa, Australia, wherever you at. Shalom. Happy Sabbath to you. All right? We're going to get straight into it. Dive straight in. All right? Secrets in the covenant. Now, last week we touched on some things. And one of those things was we explored the book of Psalms that mentions about how you should cry out for this knowledge. Seek for it as though you're seeking for gold and treasures and fine riches. And then God will, at the end, after you've done so, reveal unto you what? Who can remember what he reveals unto you after you've cried out for this knowledge? He will reveal to you the fear of the Lord. Absolutely. So now, we explored that in the book of Psalms. And in the book of Psalms, chapter 25, when it comes to the fear of the Lord, all right, you're going to see, especially so, when it comes to the secrets of the Lord, he only reveals them to those who are actually seeking out this knowledge. So Psalms 25, let's get that scripture.
Reading from the book of Psalms 25, starting at verse 12. What man is he that feareth the Lord?
What man is he that feareth the Lord?
Him shall he teach in the way that he shall choose.
So the way that the Lord will choose, we're going to see what's the way that he will choose. Not the way that you will choose, because it's not about what you want to learn when you come into this truth. It's what the Lord will have you to learn. Read on.
Verse 13. His soul shall dwell at ease, and his seed shall inherit the earth.
His seed shall inherit the earth. Read on.
Verse 14. The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him.
The secret of the Lord is with them that fear him, What does that mean? The deeper knowledge, the deeper things of the Lord will be revealed unto those who fear him. All right? Read on.
And he will show them his covenant.
He will show them his covenant. What's a covenant? Contract. What's a covenant? Agreement. He will show them. But like I mentioned to some of you last week who was here and who watched the class last week, there are also secrets in the covenant. Things in the covenant that may not have been apparent to you. The deeper things. I'm talking about the deeper things. I need y'all to come up higher. Come up higher. The deeper things in the covenant, they were always there, but maybe they were shut up from your eyes. What if we've been keeping the commandments, but missing the depth of what you're actually keeping? Missing the depth of what you're keeping and why? What if all this time, what you've actually been doing, you have not had the full understanding of what you're doing and why you're doing it? That's why you're here today on this class. You see, when you go back to the book of Genesis, you will find out that the Most High, he's a covenant God from the beginning. Even when he spoke to Abraham, he made a covenant with him and told him that through your seed, through your descendants, I'm going to make you the father of many nations. And through those descendants, I'm going to have a chosen seed. And that chosen seed will go on to be my representatives in the earth. And you can see that coming out in Genesis chapter 17. And we'll get that right now. Let's go to Genesis chapter 17. We'll start from verse 7.
Reading from the book of Genesis, chapter 17, verse 7. And I will establish my covenant between me and thee and thy seed after thee in their generations, for an everlasting covenant.
An everlasting covenant. The thing is with covenants, when it comes to the Most High, they are what? Everlasting. In your natural eyes, it may not look that way. You may say, well, that covenant came and went. That covenant is no longer. But when it comes to God, his covenants are forever. Whether you understand it or don't understand it. Read on.
To be a God unto thee, and to thy seed after thee.
He said he will be a God unto everybody? No, he said unto what?
Thee.
Unto thee, and your seed after thee. He didn't say to be a God to everybody. So covenant is very specific to who the covenant belongs to. He did not make a covenant with every single nation. Read that last part for me again.
To be a God unto thee.
To be a God unto thee. He didn't say to be a God unto everybody. He said to be a God unto thee. Read on.
And to thy seed.
And to your seed.
After thee.
After you. You understand that? Now, you're going to find something very peculiar when we get to verse 8 and verse 9. Right? Something very peculiar that may not have stuck out to you before, but we're going to point it out to you right now. Let's get that.
Verse 8. And I will give unto thee, and to thy seed after thee, the land wherein thou art a stranger, all the land of Canaan, for an everlasting possession.
For an everlasting possession. Read on.
And I will be their God.
I will be their God. Their God. Not everyone's God, but their God. The same people that he's giving the land of Canaan to. The same people that he said, I will be their God. The same people that he made a covenant with. I want you to pay attention. Read on.
Verse 9. And God said unto Abraham, thou shalt keep my covenant thereof, thou and thy seed after thee in their generations.
See the thing you must understand? God told Abraham, you will keep my covenant, you will keep my statutes, you will keep my commandments. Because the covenant that he made with Abraham was predicated upon the promise that his seeds would inherit. Follow me. The seeds could not have gotten that inheritance if Abraham did not keep the covenant. Abraham entered into a covenant with God, and he had to keep it in order for the promise to take effect. So the foundation was with Abraham. The covenant is generational. Follow me. Step up higher. The covenant is enacted through the generations that came thereafter because Abraham kept the covenant. If Abraham did not keep that covenant, would the descendants have gotten the inheritance? Would they have gotten it? The answer is no. It was predicated upon Abraham keeping that covenant. Follow me. Step up higher. Get your minds and your spirit to step up higher. When it comes to covenant, they are generational. Follow me. He did not just make a covenant with Abraham alone. Although it may seem like it was just Abraham alone he made the covenant with. Who is he actually making the covenant with? Can you tell? Who was he making it with? With his seeds thereafter. And out of those seeds thereafter, he would have a chosen seed. When you read the book of Romans chapter 9, it shows you that the chosen seed was who? Jacob. Jacob. Thy chosen seed. So follow me. Abraham had to keep the covenant. God is a covenant God. He honors covenants. He respects covenants. That's what makes him sovereign. He didn't just make a covenant with Abraham alone. He said, you and your seeds thereafter. So for them to inherit that land of Canaan, which was later remixed and called Jerusalem or Israel, Abraham had to keep the covenant. Good. So follow me. So the covenant with Abraham, it was generational and it is spiritual. Follow me. So now, because it's spiritual, the book of Exodus chapter 24, it shows you that even when Moses made covenant with God and made covenant with the people, he stood in the gap for the people. He was the one that administered the enacting of that covenant on behalf of the people. They couldn't do it. If they had to do what Moses had to do, they would die. That's why they couldn't go up to the mountain with him. They would die. So Moses acted as that third party, that intermediary between the people and God to administer this covenant. Again, God is a covenant God. Follow me. Exodus 24 shows you this. Let's get that. Exodus 24, start from verse 8.
Reading from the book of Exodus, chapter 24, verse 8. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, Behold the blood of the covenant which the Lord had made with you concerning all these words.
He said, the blood of the covenant. When it comes to covenant, there must be something that legally binds the covenant. Blood was the thing that legally bound it. Follow me. Step up higher. Blood was the thing that legally bound or made it in effect. Effectual. Okay? So Moses, he took it, he sprinkled it on the people, and he said, Behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord has made with you concerning all these words. Which words? Who can tell me which words? The words of the covenant. The words of the agreement. He said, these words will now be enacted when this blood gets sprinkled on you. So this was a legal contract with binding words, binding consequences as well. Because built into the covenant was also the consequences of breaking the covenant. It was built into the covenant. Follow me. So even when you go to Deuteronomy 28, the famous Deuteronomy 28, you can see the covenant or the contract taking place here in effect. Let's get that. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. Or let's go back up to verse 7. Go ahead.
Deuteronomy.
Exodus
24 and verse 7.
Watch this.
And he took the book of the covenant.
He took the book of the covenant. Follow me. The book of the covenant.
And read it in the audience of the people.
He read it. He read out the whole contract. He read out the whole agreement. Follow me, Israel.
And they said, all that the Lord had said, we will do and be obedient.
All that the Lord have said. They have enacted that covenant. They have actually come into agreement with the covenant by saying everything that's listed in the book. Everything, all of the agreement, all of the terms, the conditions, we agree. We will do it. And so the Most High had held them bound by their word, bound by the covenant, bound and contractually binded by the blood. Follow me. This isn't just physical. This is spiritual. The beginning of this contract was a spiritual one. Way before the words of them Israelites saying, I do, go back to when Abraham said to God, I will do your covenant. He said, I will make it effectual with your seeds thereafter. Understand this. Before one law was even in place or codified. Because remember, going all the way back to Adam in the garden, God breathed his covenant into Adam. Follow me. So it shows you this is spiritual. This is not just some physical thing. I'm doing the laws, I'm doing the commandments. It's physical. Step up higher. Raise up your antennas, your spiritual antennas higher. The Lord is calling you to think higher on a higher spiritual plateau. Okay? So now, he took that book. He read it in the audience. They said all these words, we will do, and we will be what? Read the last part. We will be what?
And we will do and be obedient.
We will be obedient. So the part of the covenant that you never realize is that when it comes to the covenant, obedience is required to the covenant. The covenant is effectuated by your obedience. Follow me. This is not just physical. This is spiritual. So now, again, when you go over to Deuteronomy 28, it shows you right in the midst of the covenant taking place that there are terms and conditions. Let's get that. Deuteronomy 28, let's start from verse 1. Follow me, Israel.
Reading from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 1. And it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So God said in the covenant, I will set you on high above all nations of the earth if you observe diligently to do these commandments. Now watch this, verse 15.
Verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
The consequences for breaking the contract, the consequences for breaking the agreement and the covenant, it comes into place. But understand, when God made this contract, he didn't have to keep making the contract over and over again. Follow me. One of the secrets is this covenant has already been set in stone permanently, and its effects, i.e. the blessings and the curses, are activated through our obedience or our lack thereof. Again, one of the secrets is this covenant has already been set in stone permanently. For instance, I'll give you an example. When God created this earth, how many times did he create it? Many times? One time. He set everything in motion how many times? One time. Take it on a more physical level. The ocean, it ebbs and it flows. It goes in, it regresses, it comes back again. It's the natural flow and order of the ocean. When it comes to precipitation, right? The sun, the heat, water, it goes back up as mist, it falls as rain. Does God have to come into the earth every time and touch the elements and cause it to happen? No. When he sets it in stone, it repeats, it goes on repeat over and over again. Follow me. The covenant is not something that God is just up there enabling. Oh, curses. It was set in stone from the start. And it comes into effect when either you keep it or you break it. You enact it. He already set it in stone. You're enabling it when you either obey it or you disobey it. So God doesn't have to come into the earth every time, oh, I'm going to set curses on the Israelites, I'm going to set blessings. He's already said it and forget it. Just the same way you see the sun rise every morning. He doesn't go and rise the sun every morning. He set that thing in motion, boom, and it rises every morning. As sure as the sun will rise, as sure as the sun will set. You know it's going to happen. He knows it's going to happen. He's the one that said it like that. The same thing for the covenant. Follow me. Once he set this in motion, your obedience or lack thereof, it activates the covenant. Your ancestors already said we're going to do it. So you're in a covenant whether you know it or not. Follow me, Israel. Your ancestors already said all the words of these covenant we will do. So whether you woke up yesterday, last year, 5 years ago to this truth, whether you do not know about the truth, if you are an Israelite, your ancestors made a covenant with God. Whether you know about it or not, your job is to understand that the covenant is spiritual. Follow me. These secrets of the covenant will only be revealed unto those who are wise, those who are stepping up higher, those who God has called them higher and they have answered the call. Otherwise, you will miss all of the depth thereof when it comes to the covenant. Good. So now, when it comes to this covenant, again, there's consequences you can see coming out if you break this covenant. The book of Deuteronomy 29 clearly shows you, we'll take a look at that really quickly, about What happens when you break that covenant? Let's get that. Deuteronomy 29 and verse 26.
Reading from the book of Deuteronomy chapter 29 and verse 26. For they went and served other gods.
So your forefathers went and they did what? They served other gods. They did customs and traditions that God did not give to them. They followed the other nations. To serve another god means to follow the ways of another nation. Follow the ways of a heathen nation. Read on.
And worship them, gods whom they knew not, and whom he had not given unto them.
Whom he had not given unto them. So, things that the Lord did not give unto you, you should not be doing. Traditions like Christmas and birthdays and Valentine's Day and Mother's Day and Father's Day, the things that God did not give unto you, you should not do them. That's part of the covenant, but you never knew because you didn't realize this Bible actually is in reference to your people. You didn't realize the covenant applies to you. You didn't realize you were the people of this book, the people of this contract, the people of this agreement. You did not realize it was you. So all your life you spent doing the ways of the other nations and God never told you to do it. But now you're going to see what's happening when it comes to the cause and effect. The cause and effect. Read on.
Verse 27. And the anger of the Lord was kindled against this land to bring unto it all the curses that are written in this book.
Where were the curses written?
In this book.
The curses were written into the covenant. Follow me. So the effects, the cause and effect of breaching the contract is written right there in the book. So you shouldn't wonder when you look around and you see all these things happening in the world and why is it happening? The cause and the effect is in the book. It's in the covenant. It's built into the agreement. You didn't think this agreement applied to you. That's the problem. Okay? So all these curses that were written in this book, read on, verse 28.
Verse 28. And the Lord rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation and cast them into another land as it is today.
So the recompense for breaking that covenant, they got rooted out of that land, casted out of that land. He brought great indignation and great wrath upon these people because it's not to say they didn't know. He built that into the contract. He built it into the agreement. He told you it would happen, but our people are so stiff-necked that they don't think it would happen to them till it happens to them. Read on.
Verse 29. The secret things belong unto the Lord our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of the law.
Now this is a very heavy verse. I want everyone to pay attention to this. Verse 29, it shows you that the secret thing belongs to the Lord our God, but, it says but, the things that were revealed unto us and our children is that we would do what? This covenant. Is that we would do the words of this covenant. That's the secret thing that was revealed unto us. Why was it a secret thing that was revealed unto us? It's not for everybody. Follow me. This covenant wasn't for all nations. That's what makes us special. That's what makes us different. It was not available for everyone. It was available for us, but it was available through us. All the other nations, they would know our God through you. You were destined to be the light of the world, and that's how the other nations would know God. Through you, through your ways, through you doing God's commandments, through you shining your light and being the light of the world. God would actually shine his everlasting light through you. And all the other nations would look upon you and say, wow, look at what a marvelous people. Who are their God? I want to know their God. I want to know their God. But it was for you. That's part of the secret, that the covenant, these words are for you. But the problem therein is this. Follow me. There came a time where Israel, we were shut up from the covenant. God removed all instance of your memory of who you are and this covenant from you. He put it on the other nations to remove you from it. And you're going to see coming out in the book of Psalms chapter 83 that your identity was stolen. Your identity was lost. Your covenant got lost. Why? As part of you breaching that contract, the Most High did say it would happen to you. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. Let's get that coming out in Psalms chapter 83.
Reading from the book of Psalms 83, verse 2.
Start from verse 2. Correct.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Read on.
Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones.
Consulted against thine hidden ones. Who are the hidden ones? The Israelites. Now, you just learned that in the previous verse that the secret things that belong to the Lord, they belong to him. But the things that was revealed unto us, which is this covenant, it was just for you, Israel. But the thing is, the words of this law, it got shut up from you. God put it on the other nation's spirit to hide it from you and to hide your identity from you so that you don't know who you are. Because when it comes to erasing your identity, once you don't know your identity, you will not know or be familiar with the covenant. Follow me, Israel. Step up higher. If your identity is lost, then your covenant is also lost. Follow me. If your identity is not apparent to you, then the covenant will not be apparent to you. If you don't know who you are, you will not know the covenant. If you don't know the covenant applies to you, you will not consider the covenant and the words thereof written in there. Do you ever notice that for most of us who came out of the Christian church, when we came to the knowledge of this truth, we said, wait. This was in there all the time? It was, but it was hidden from you. You said, wait. You mean to tell me Deuteronomy 28, going on cargo slave ships, that was there? Pastor never showed it to me. It was never read in church. It probably was. He probably read it one Sunday and it went over his head, your head, everybody's head. Because the Lord put it on the other nations to remove your identity from you. So no matter what you do, these words will be shut up from you. And it shows you no one will be able to wake up unless the Lord quickens their spirit. It will be shut up from you. This understanding will be hidden from you. Because the Lord has a set time when everyone will wake up. It may be different for this sister. It may be different for that brother. Everyone wakes up at a different time. But nonetheless, with a lost identity, you will not know your covenant. You will not be familiar with the covenant or even know the covenant applies to you. You ever hear some Christians in the Christian church talk? You read a law for them in the book of the law. They say, the answer to you is what? That law doesn't apply to me. That's for the Jewish people. That's for the Jews. I'm not a Jew. I'm a Gentile. Yes, we are Gentiles in the sense that we are the Israelites scattered because we took on the Gentile ways. But if you got scattered here, your forefathers picked cotton and sugar cane, you came to the islands by way of cargo slave ships, you are an Israelite. The Negroes, Hispanics, and the indigenous are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. And this covenant applies to you. But you didn't realize. Why? God hid it from you. That's part of the covenant, that he would hide it from you. It's built into the covenant. Follow me, Israel. So now, Psalms 83 and verse 3 says, the other nations have consulted against thine hidden ones. Now, why are we hidden ones? Because you lost your identity. And not only did you lose your identity, they're doing everything in their power to make sure that the hidden ones don't wake up. So they will continue to put out propaganda that makes you believe that those over in Israel right now, they're the real Jews when it's not them and it's actually you. That's why most people in the Christian church say, oh, those laws in the Torah in the first 5 books, they don't apply to me. They apply to the Jews and the Jewish. Not realizing that you're the real Jews. You are the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Give me verse 4.
Psalms 83 verse 4. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
That the name of Israel be no more in remembrance. And you got to understand this. This is very serious when it comes to them hiding your identity from you. That's why in these last days, many Israelites will be waking up. Follow me. That's why many Israelites have just in the past 5 years woken up to their identity. Why? The Lord has a set time till when everyone will wake up. Follow me. You were in the Christian church all these years. You didn't realize I'm an Israelite. You didn't realize. Why is that? God has a set time. He says, thy hidden ones, this knowledge will be hid from them. Who did he put it on to hide it from you? Who did he put it on? The other nations. So them doing it wasn't of themselves. Follow me. Them doing it is because God has set in his covenant, in the contract, that if you disobey the contract, he will cause it that you don't remember who you are, and you get prevented from knowing who you are. But how God plays into the contract is he would use the other nations to play a part in you forgetting. He would use the other nations to play a part in you not remembering. He will use them to run the world so that you get stifled. Your identity is not known anymore. But it's so beautiful, the story in the covenant, that no matter what the other nations do, they just can't keep stifling our identity, because you would find one spark put a fire to the whole flame and it now set ablaze. We'll get to that. So a hidden identity means a hidden covenant. Follow me, Israel. You not knowing who you are, you would understand or not understand that this covenant applies to you. They go hand in hand. Once you don't know who you are, this Bible means nothing to you. You wouldn't be thinking Leviticus 11:7, and the swine, though he divide the hoof, he's unclean to you. You wouldn't think that applies to you. You would say, oh, that's for them Jewish people over in Israel. That ain't for me. That's because you don't know who you are. That's because you didn't realize you are the descendants of Jacob. That's because you didn't realize you are carrying the bloodline of the 12 tribes of Israel built into your DNA. Right? Now you're realizing who you are. That's why you've chosen, each and every one of you, to come back to the covenant. The Lord quickened your spirit. So now, we're going to make a bold statement. You're going to see coming out in the book of Baruch. We'll go to the Apocrypha, the King James Bible Apocrypha. We're going to go to the book of Baruch, chapter 2 and verse 30, right? Now you're going to understand that there's a beauty in the curses. Follow me. I know you're going to say to me, Cap, what craziness is that? There's a beauty in the curses because the curses allowed for something miraculous to happen. And in this miraculous thing happening, it's the only thing that could have happened that would bring you back in such force and propensity. Nothing else would bring you back to the Lord the way the curses would. And you're going to find that coming out in the book of Baruch, chapter 2 and verse 30. Let's read that. This is what God says. Listen up closely, Israel. I need you to come up higher. Set your spiritual antennas higher. Let's get this. Baruch, chapter 2 and verse 30.
Reading from the book of Baruch, chapter 2 and verse 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it's a stiff-necked people.
He said, I knew. You think God didn't know? So wait. You thought God, when he set things in motion and he breathed his laws into Adam and, had a set covenant people, you thought that God didn't realize they would go off? Oh, read it again from the top.
Baruch chapter 2 and verse 30. For I knew that they will not hear me.
He said, I knew that they would not hear me. God knew. He knew. God knows all things. Don't think that God is on your level whereby you just wake up in the morning, oh, the Israelites are breaking my commandments. He knew. Nothing surprises God. Understand that. Here's the reason why he knew. He's the one that set it in motion. He's the one that set it up to happen before it happens. You may not be able to grasp that right now. I understand. There's nothing that happens coincidentally when it comes to the Most High God. Let's put it this way. You might try to figure out, are we just a programmed in a program? Yes. God has ordered your steps even before you were born. God has set things in motion before the foundation of the earth. Follow me. He knows the end of this book even before it happens. It ain't even happened yet. He could tell you everything of how it's going to happen, the way it's going to happen. You could just read about it, but he the one that wrote it into existence even before the foundation of the earth. Follow me. Even before he thought of making man, he knew what would be the end thereof. Guess what? Even after this book has ended and what's going to happen in the kingdom, he already knows. So he knows more beyond this book and then some. Follow me. You don't know. You don't have the ability to know beyond the end of this book. We could just see what's going to happen in the end of this book and wonder what's going to happen in the kingdom should you make it there. But nobody knows what he knows into the kingdom. And guess what? No one knows what came before. He has that knowledge. The secret things of the Lord belongs to him. But the things that belong to you and I are the things of this covenant. We just read that in the previous verse. But the covenant was shut up from you because you broke the covenant. So he made it such that he would hide your identity from you, hide this covenant from you, and make it such that it's only one thing that would actually bring you back to the covenant. And we're reading about it right now. Brother Aitan, could you get anyone apocryphas who don't have apocryphas? Thanks. So now, you would find the only thing that would actually bring you back and quicken you is something that many of you have thought was a very wicked thing that God did. But it was not wickedness. It played into his plan. So he said, I knew they would not hear me because what kind of people we are?
Stiff-necked.
A stiff-necked people. He knew. He was the one that made you. He knew how stiff-necked we could be as a people. And that's why he knew that. Read on.
Verse 31. And shall come to know that I am the Lord their God, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear.
Read.
Verse 32. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity, and think upon my name.
So you got brought over here in the land of your captivity. And you're going to wake up. He says you're going to praise him. You're going to come back to this covenant. You're going to come back to understand who he is, right? And you're going to come back and think upon his name. Think upon his name. Read on.
Verse 33. And return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the ways of their fathers which sinned before the Lord.
They shall remember the way of their fathers that sinned before the Lord. Read verse 34.
Verse 34. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they shall be lords of it.
They shall be
lords of it.
Now, it says they're going to be lords or rulers of it when he brings you back into that land. So we're not in that land right now. We're not rulers of that land right now. You're scattered right now. You're slaves and in captivity right now. Give me verse 35. Oh, you didn't finish? Finish it out for me.
Yeah. And I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished.
They shall not be diminished. Verse 35.
Verse 35. And will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their God, and they shall be my people. And I will no more drive my people of Israel out of the land that I have given them.
He will no more drive us out. He will no more put us in captivity. He will no more carry us over to other nations to be servile to them. But guess what? That's going to happen should you get the kingdom. So right now you're being prepped for rulership. Right now you must go through the sucking of the salt, as they say, because you broke the covenant. You now have to man up and deal with the consequences that your forefathers broke. But in your coming back to this covenant, it says you will come back to him in your captivity. You will rejoice at his name. You will think upon his name. But he said, I knew you would have transgressed. I knew you wouldn't have heard the words of this covenant. I knew you would have broken it. But I want you to understand something. He did that. We read all of that to show you. He did that. The curses is the thing that brought you back to the covenant. Oh, follow me, Israel. The harsher and more bitter the curses are, if you endure and you repent, the sweeter the victory will be should you inherit the kingdom. Follow me. So even though Israel forgot who they were, and they forgot that they were in a covenant with God, and they forgot that we are the Israelites, God set forth these curses to bring us back into the truth. Follow me. You may say, well, these curses was rough. We went through slavery, getting hung, whipped, beaten. Slave masters who were slave masters and taskmasters over us. They whip us, beat us, maimed our women, killed our children, fed our babies to alligators. You may say all that was gruesome. How could a loving God do such a thing to his people? But what you didn't realize is how wicked your forefathers were. You're not asking about that part. You weren't asking about how they dissed the Father to his face. How they spit back the commandments right in his face. And it's as if they gave the Lord a middle finger and said, this is what I think about you and your covenant. No one tends to think about how wicked we are as a people, how stiff-necked we are. How even in today's time, in 2025, you would have brothers whoring out sisters. And what I mean by whoring out, I mean you would have brothers laying with sisters with no intention of marrying the sister and just sleeping with a bunch of sisters up and down the place, whoring them out, homosexuality running rampant, murder running rampant. The way we deal with one another as brothers and sisters is atrocious. We eat all manner of things God says not to eat. This thing is more than just physical. This is spiritual. Follow me. This depth is on a spiritual depth where your forefathers hated the commandments so much they didn't care about the consequence. You learned about the consequence. It was built into the contract. Your forefathers said, we don't care. We're still going to go off and do our own thing. So God, he said he knew you would do that. And that's why he set forth the curses. That's the only thing that would bring you back. In the land of your captivity, when you're crying out to God and you say, God, how much more can we take? That's when something ignites in your spirit and you say, you know what? Let me read this Bible and realize, wait, everything that I'm going through right now, this applies to me and my people. Everything that we're facing right now as a people, this applies to us. This must be us. This must be me. I will come back and do the oh, wait. Is it because we're not doing the things that's listed in this book, in this covenant, is why we're facing what we're dealing with right now? Then your spirit starts to reignite and come back into the covenant with God. Bit by bit, little by little, little change by little change. Before you know it, you realize, thank God for these curses. If you haven't gotten to that point in this walk in your truth where you thanked God for these curses, that means you need to step up higher. You didn't realize the secrets in the covenant, how the curses were meant to bring you back into a relationship with God. Follow me. That might be too up here for some brothers and some sisters. The curses were given to bring you back into a relationship with God. You think the thing that's going to bring you back into God is somebody coming up to you and talking nice to you. Hi, good morning. How are you? Would you like to have a relationship with God? No, it's when you're crying out in anguish and in pain and you said, God, I can't take it no more. That the only choice that you have is to get on your knees and come back to the thing. Not no amount of crying and tears the Lord want to see. He wants to see you coming back to the what? The covenant. He don't care about your tears. Let me put that now. He don't care about your tears, your emotions, your sadness and how you feel. He cares about your actions and whether or not you're willing to put yourself to sacrifice the ways of this world and come back to the covenant. That's what he's looking for. So stop thinking that God is going to hear my tears and hear my prayers and my tears. Stop thinking that. What he hears is what? Your actions. You coming back to this covenant. That's what he want to hear. You understand? So what were we reading? We were reading Baruch 2 and verse 35. The curses bring us back to the truth. You understand? Good. So now, what you're going to understand. Oh, you had a precept? You had a precept?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Baruch 4.
Baruch 4.
Verse 6.
Let's read that. Baruch 4 and verse 6.
You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction.
Not for your destruction.
But because you moved God to wrath.
You moved him to wrath. You broke the covenant. Read on.
You were delivered unto the enemies.
That's why you got delivered unto your enemies. I know you might say, man, God is so wicked. God is so bad to do that to us. But because you were so wicked, you're not thinking about how wicked your forefathers were. You weren't thinking about that. He knew you would break the covenant. That's why he set the curses in place to bring you back into a relationship with him. Okay? Good. So now, you're going to find, when it comes to these secret things being made manifest, the book of Romans chapter 16 shows you that when it comes to the obedience of this covenant and these scriptures, you're going to find that he revealed it to us in these last days. It's for us. But the Apostle Paul figured out something that many of you may not have figured out as yet. Let's get this. Romans chapter 16 and verse 26.
Reading from the book of Romans, chapter 16, verse 26. But now is made manifest, and by the scriptures of the prophets, according to the commandment of the everlasting God, made known to all nations for the obedience of faith.
Now, it says, now, the covenant and the secrets of the covenant, that's what it's talking about, is now made what? Manifest. In other words, it's now revealed. Right? And it was revealed by the prophets according to the commandment. But it says now it's now made known to all nations. Why all nations? Because it's a pointer to Christ. Right? So Christ is now revealed to all nations. And all nations meaning wherever we're scattered, it's been made manifest there. As well as even, guess what? The other nations, they're aware. And not because they're aware of certain things, it doesn't mean it's for them, but it's for those who are scattered among the nations. Right? Now watch this. This is very powerful. Pay attention to verse 26 again. It says, but now it's made manifest. So these scriptures is now revealed, right? By the prophets, according to the commandment of the Most High God, made known to all nations. But look at the last part of the verse. Pay attention to the last part. Read the last part of the verse.
For the obedience of faith.
For the obedience of what?
Faith.
What does that mean? To increase your faith. So that your obedience and your faith go hand in hand. Because you can't be obedient to something if you don't have the faith aspect of it. Remember, it's impossible to please God without you having faith. It's to perfect your faith, to perfect you keeping these commandments, because it's not just about keeping commandments. Understand this. It's deeper than just commandments. It's deeper than laws. This is spiritual. But this mystery got revealed to us in these last days. And in the book of Colossians chapter 1, it's going to show you, right, that this thing points to Christ. Let's get that. Colossians chapter 1 and verse 24.
Reading from the book of Colossians chapter 1 and verse 24. Who now rejoice in my sufferings for you, and fill up that which is behind of the affliction of Christ in my flesh, for his body's sake, which is the church.
So it says, who now rejoice in my sufferings for you. So Paul, did he go through sufferings? Absolutely. But he figured out something. He says, in my afflictions for you, that, sorry, read it again from the top. Read that again.
Verse 24. Who now rejoice in my sufferings for you, and filled up that which is behind which is behind of the affliction of Christ in my flesh for his body's sake,
For his body's sake,
which is the church.
which is the church. Read verse 25.
Verse 25. Whereof I am made a minister according to the dispensation of God, which is given to me for you to fulfill the word of God.
Let me break this down for you now. It says, who now rejoice in my sufferings for you. So Paul, he went through many sufferings for the mission of Christ. It says now, and fill up that which is behind of the afflictions of Christ. Because to follow behind the afflictions of Christ is what each and every one of us have to do. You got to follow in the afflictions of Christ. I want to break something down as we get a little bit deeper. The afflictions of Christ and the afflictions of what we're going to go through as a nation, they go hand in hand. Follow me, Israel. The things that Christ suffered was tremendous. And the things that Israel suffered was tremendous. Both of them go hand in hand. We're going to get deeper on that level. Let's read verse 26.
Verse 26. Even the mystery which had been hid from ages and from generations, but now is made manifest to his saints.
So this mystery, it points to Christ. This mystery. That's the reason even why you go back to the curses. Watch this. So the curses that Israel suffered and the things that we went through as a nation, all of it was supposed to point to Christ. His sufferings, his torture, his murder, right? All of it pointed to him, the things that we went through. Follow me. So now give me verse 27.
Verse 27. To whom God will make known what is the riches of the glory of this mystery among the Gentiles.
Watch it. This mystery among the Gentiles. This deeper knowledge among the Gentiles. The things that you're waking up to today, we, the Israelite Gentiles who are scattered in the four corners, these secrets, it would be made manifest to you if you would step up higher and open up your spiritual antennas. Follow me. Read on.
Which is Christ in you.
Which is?
Christ in you.
Wow.
The hope of glory.
Wow. So wait. Paul figured it out. You might be watching me like, with Cap. What did Paul figure out? Paul figured out all of it when it comes to Israel and what we went through. Pointed to Christ. He said, Christ in you. But if Christ is in you, we as a nation will suffer what Christ suffered. Follow me. Come up on a higher level. The curses and the affliction of the Israelites and what we went through and continue to go through is a spiritual parallel that points toward what Christ had to go through in his sufferings on that cross. Follow me, Israel. Israel, we suffered curses and captivity and death. And likewise, Christ suffered what? What did he suffer? He suffered men cursing him. He suffered men taking him captives. He suffered dying at their hands. It's the same thing that Israel went through. Suffering at the hands of our enemies. Christ did that. Men reviling and hating them, the other nations. Christ did that. That happened to us. Our sufferings is in line with Christ's sufferings as a nation, because Paul actually revealing this mystery unto the Gentiles. Christ in you. You're going to have to suffer the things as a nation that Christ suffered. Follow me. He died at the hands of his enemies. We died at the hands of our enemies. Follow me. What Christ went through is a parallel to what Israel... Now watch this. I'm going to show you something. So Paul figured out the mystery of Christ in you. He's trying to teach it to each and every one of you right now. You will go through sufferings and afflictions as a nation. You must, because that's the Christ in you. Follow me. In the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2, it shows you about the things we got to endure for the sake of Christ. Watch this. 2 Timothy 2 and verse 10. Let's get that.
Reading from the book of 2 Timothy chapter 2 and verse 10. Therefore, I endure all things for the elect's sake,
All things for the elect's sake,
that they may also obtain the salvation which is in Christ Jesus with eternal glory.
so enduring and getting or obtaining salvation go hand in hand. Enduring so that you can get eternal salvation. Read on.
Verse 11. It is a faithful saying, for if we be dead with him,
If we be dead with him, if we be dead with him. Remember, Christ in you. Follow me.
we shall also live with him.
We shall also live with him. Read on.
Verse 12. If we suffer, we shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he also will deny us.
If we suffer, we will also reign with him. See, suffering goes into what you will eventually reign and rule over. There is no reigning and ruling over anything if you don't have any suffering that comes before it. You must suffer something in order to reign over something. Follow me, Israel. That's why Israel had to go through the curses. Follow me, Israel. What you're going to reign over is something so miraculous that not even your eyes would be able to perceive what you're seeing in the kingdom. But you had to go through that stage of going through the curses. Now, Christ himself, did he sin? No. Did he suffer? Yes. He suffered greatly, immensely. Same way Israel suffered. We suffered. We broke the covenant, yes, but we had to suffer for it. But now Christ, look what Paul figured out. The Christ in you is a parallel to what Christ had to go through. Now, what is Christ coming back as? The king. Who will Christ be in the new kingdom? The ruler and king that we all will serve. Right? God is not going to be there. For those of you that don't know, the new kingdom will be here on earth. It says the meek shall inherit the earth. It says I will make a new heaven and a new earth. You're going to rule and reign in the earth. Christ is going to be the king here on earth. They're going to be 144,000. That's the ruling government. You have to answer to them. They answer to Christ. Christ answers to God. But we'll get into that some other time. Follow me. For rulership to happen, you must endure affliction first. Christ is coming back as the king. He suffered on that cross to show us this is how you do it. I'll get into that. So that was 2 Timothy 2:12. If we suffer, we shall also reign with him. So in order to inherit anything, and you can quote this, in order to inherit anything spiritual, one must first physically die first. You got to die to self, die to flesh, die to carnality, die to your sinful ways, die to your worldly ways, die to your own desires. Now Christ came to show us in the way he lived his life how to die with honor. Follow me. When he was on that cross, he didn't say, my will. He said, Father, let your will be done. He showed you how to die with honor. He showed you that it's not God's will, but it's not your will, but it is God's will. And now, when you do that, that's the only way you'll be able to inherit eternal life in the kingdom. Is through death of self. Follow me. Israel had to go through the curses and die in order to inherit this kingdom. Christ had to die to show you how to die an honorable death, being blameless. So that when you mimic your life after him, you also be blameless. So that when you die and what you inherit after, you deserved it. You deserve the kingdom. The only way to be deserving of the kingdom or to be worthy of the kingdom is to die an honorable death. Christ showed you how to die an honorable death. He went on that cross and he said what? Not my will, Father, but yours. You got to die to self. Follow me. Within the covenant, it was always there. God gave you these commandments so that you die to self. Y'all didn't realize that. And when you break the covenant and he put you into captivity and all of these curses come upon you as a people, these curses come to bring you back to the Lord. They come to refine you so that now you know what dying to self should look like because you've experienced the curses. You know what dying to your emotions, dying to your feelings looks like and feels like because you've been in captivity. You've seen it firsthand what happened to your forefathers. So dying to self shouldn't be a very difficult thing. If you went through all of that for all those years, hundreds and hundreds of years, dying to self should not be a very difficult thing. You know what you suffered, Israel. You know the hardships, you know the torture, you know the affliction that all of us been through and still going through. Dying to self should not be difficult for you. You know what you're going through. You know the perils in your life right now. You know the challenges you're facing in life right now. So why not submit to God? As they say, what's it saying? Let go and let God. Why not? You're the one that's experiencing the hardship. Why not submit to him? You're the one that's going through the challenge in your life. Why not submit to him? You've been trying all this time to do it your way. With your carnal thinking and your fleshly ways and your self ways. Die to self. Look at what Christ did. He showed you how to do it. He showed you the ultimate way to die an honorable death is to die to self. Remember, he was on that cross and he said, Father, if it be, that this cup could pass from me, see to it that it does. But he said, nevertheless, not my will, Father, but your will. Die to self. He showed you how to do it. So if he showed you how to do it, why don't you follow that example? Why don't you die to self? Why don't you die to your own emotions and your own ways and your own way of doing things? Die to that. Put that aside. You say you're following Christ. You say you believe in Christ. But yet, here are you led by your emotions. But you say you love Christ. The greatest man that ever lived. He showed you how to do it. And yet, you don't follow in his way. Right? So, through death of self, that comes that affliction. But affliction brings about a refining. All right? Because in the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, in the Apocrypha, it shows you, if you're coming to serve the Lord, you got to prepare yourself for some things to come your way. Some temptation. Let's get that in the Apocrypha.
Reading from the book of the Apocrypha, the book of Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 1. My son, if thou come to serve the Lord, prepare thy soul for temptation.
Prepare your soul for temptation. You see, when you're going through affliction, it brings about a refining. The affliction is set to refine you. So when you're coming into this truth, you got to prepare yourself for some temptation. It's there to refine you. Give me verse 2.
Verse 2. Set thine heart aright, and constantly endure, and make no haste in time of trouble.
Read on.
Verse 3. Cleave unto him, and depart not away, that thou mayest be increased at thy last end.
That you may be increased. Now think of this not on a micro level. Think of this on a macro level, on a bigger scale. Israel, right? It says, if we cleave unto him and we don't depart from him or we come back to this covenant, we're going to be increased in the last end, in the latter days, in the kingdom. Verse 4.
Verse 4. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully.
Whatever is brought upon you, take it cheerfully. What is brought upon us right now? These curses, this affliction. But it says, take it cheerfully, meaning in your repentance, you have accepted accountability for your wrongdoing. That's what taking it cheerfully means. Because you know, once you repent, you take accountability, guess what's coming? The thing that Christ showed you. You're going to reign and rule with him. Christ showed you, dying to self is the way to die an honorable death. He's coming back as a king. Don't you want the same? He said, you're going to be royalty in the new kingdom, but you got to go through what first? The affliction. So when you're in this afflicted state, whatever is brought upon you, take it cheerfully, meaning take accountability, accept your wrongdoing. He says, be patient. Read on. Read that last part. Be patient.
Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art charged to a low estate.
When you're changed to a low estate, meaning Israel, we're in a low estate right now. Our brothers are strung out on drugs, crack, weed addicts. Brothers just can't put down a joint right now. Single parent homes. Our neighborhoods are impoverished. We got so much strong men, but they're just on the corner, just sitting down, wasting their life, who ain't robbing people, scamming people, you name it. Women busting it open for $5, $10, $15, a top up, you name it. Our nation is in a deplorable state right now. But if we really come back to this covenant and take accountability for what we've done, meaning take it cheerfully and be patient. Some people think when they come into this truth, their life's supposed to change immediately. He says be patient. Some people think that they're supposed to see the results of keeping the covenant immediately. He says to be patient. You may think, well, God, I've been praying for a long time for this thing. I came into the truth last year. I ain't see it yet. It says to be patient. You're thinking carnally and you don't have discernment. We showed you how to master discernment last week. Discernment will tell you that everything has an appointed time, a set appointed time. Be patient. You may not be ready for that thing right now. Be patient. We're not ready for the kingdom right. How many of you think you're ready for the kingdom right now in the state that you're in right now? Exactly. You wouldn't make it. You would die before you even reach the gates. Because God has to do what? Spend a little bit more time. And it's not anything to feel bad about. God has to spend a little bit more time working on you, refining you, fine-tuning you, getting some things out of your heart, purging you out of certain ways and habits and mentalities and human ways and carnal, fleshly ways that you have right now. You're not ready for the kingdom right now, so be patient. But in your patience, it doesn't mean sit down and do nothing. Watch me. It doesn't mean sit down, twiddle your thumbs, and just scroll the internet all day. Doesn't mean that. Actively working on your lack of faith. Actively working on the things that you need to purge out of your system. The carnal ways and the worldly ways of your thinking. Purge it out of your system. That's what being patient means. Repenting. Coming back to do what the covenant says. In your patience. In your waiting. It doesn't mean do nothing. It means you're actively employed coming back to these commandments, but you're not getting all bent out of shape because the thing that you prayed for, you don't see it happening right away. Be patient. Some of us think we could rush God and rush him and rush him. Guess what? You could rush him all you want. He's going to move in his timing. You could want the kingdom tomorrow. Oh God, I wish you would come tomorrow. We want your kingdom now. You could want it all. He has a set appointed time when it's going to happen. Because you're not ready for it right now. Well, God, I'm ready to go now. You think so? You think so? You're not ready. That's why he spent a little bit more time working on you, refining you. He says, if you're going to come into this truth, prepare your soul for temptation. It's coming. And those temptations are set there to refine you so you could pass the test. Because maybe you've been failing the test. Maybe every time he sets temptation your way, you just can't resist. You can't resist. You can't help yourself. Some brothers struggling with some things right now. Trust me, you just can't help yourself from flying off at the handle, crashing out, pornography, smoking weed, whoring out sisters, having sex with them and not marrying them. You just can't help yourself. You can't stop smoking crack. Some sisters just can't stop whoremongering themselves. They can't stop. You ever see a crackhead like he wake up in the morning, the first thing he got to do is what? He's scratching his neck. Got to get that crack. Got to. You just can't help yourself. You're not ready for the kingdom. You're not. Be patient, but in your patience, you're actively working on, for you young men, how to be a man, how to stop crashing out, how to stop flying off at the handle, how to stop being so emotional, being led by your emotions, and every single thought that comes to your mind, you just got to say it because you're so damn opinionated. You got to say, a wise man keeps a still tongue. A wise man knows how to submit to leadership. A wise man knows how to take orders. A wise man knows how to move in solidarity. A wise man knows how to move strategically. But you haven't learned that yet, so don't think you're ready for the kingdom right now. You got a lot of refining that you got to do, a lot of getting your house in order that you got to do. You got to get yourself so much in order. We read a couple classes back, the things that you got to attain to be properly statured in this truth. In terms of, and it starts with the little things, having your house in order. If a man cannot rule his spirit, how can he rule his household? If a man cannot rule his household, how are you going to rule the world? Think. God is setting you up to be the rulers of this world. But you can't rule your household. You can't rule your own spirit. You can't rule nothing. You're not set up to be no ruler right now. Remind you, you're supposed to be the kings and the priests of this earth, the rulers, the ones that all the nations look up to. That, wow, look a mighty fine people that ruling this earth in solidarity. You can't rule your own spirit. You can't rule your own house. Well, how are you going to rule the whole world? You can't. There's no way. It's impossible. If you can't rule the little things, what God is preparing you for to rule, He cannot hand the keys of the rulership of the world over to you. He can't. That would be irresponsible. Wouldn't it be irresponsible of God to hand over the keys of rulership, of ruling the world as the ruling nation, to irresponsible, immature, spiritual, immature crash outs who cannot even rule their wives, their children? They don't know how to submit to any kind of leadership. They're disrespectful. Can the people like that rule the world? No. The world would run amok. The world would go crazy. The world would be what it is right now. The kingdom would be exactly a replica of what you see right now. Could you imagine the kingdom being what you see right now? I wouldn't want to be in that kingdom. I would say, God, take me out of here. We got a bunch of immature men who crashing out, can't handle their own responsibilities, can't get it together. Sisters out here wilding out, brothers wilding out. I don't want to be in that kingdom. That's the kingdom you're in right now. Think. That's what you're seeing every day. That's the kingdom you want. If that's not the kingdom you want, the change starts with you. It says the kingdom is within you. And what does that mean? You got to bring about the kingdom right now. You got to change. You got to stop being an irresponsible brother. You got to stop being an immature brother. Grow up in this truth. Stop being led by your emotions. Be the men that the Lord needs you to be in the kingdom. Be that right now. That's how you bring the kingdom here on earth. Start being what God wants you to be now. Stop thinking, well, when I get to the kingdom, I'm going to be perfect. Start being that now so He can hand the keys of the kingdom over to you, Israel. He cannot give you those keys if you're not exhibiting that behavior right now. Follow me. Good. So now, the fire of affliction refines you. That's what you're going through right now. That's why the curses were needed. It's to refine you. Read verse 5 for me. Watch this.
Ecclesiasticus 2 verse 5. For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
Acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. When they're making gold, the gold doesn't look like gold when you take it out of the pit, out of the dirt, out of the mud. It looks brown and it looks mucky. But when you put that thing to an intense heat, over 3,000 degrees Fahrenheit, that refines it. That turns it very shiny, very precious, a very precious metal. Silver and gold is made in that way, through heat. So the curses and the covenant, it's not just physical, this is spiritual. The covenant was created to do what? To make you into the men and women who will rule the world. Follow me. He had to give you that covenant with the curses built into the covenant because he knew you would break the covenant. And in him knowing that you would break the covenant, he had a backup plan within the covenant that the curses would bring you back to him in covenant relationship with him. Follow me. And in your coming back to it, he would use the curses to refine you. He would use the adversity to refine you, to make you into the kings that you need to be. But you're resisting. You're resisting the things that are listed in the covenant. You're resisting that how we set captains over you, over hundreds and men of leadership over you. You're resisting that. You're resisting the things in the covenant that says you must teach these commandments to your children. You're resisting that. How are you going to inherit the world? How are you going to inherit rulership over the world? You're resisting the things in the covenant that was sent to refine you, to prepare you for the kingdom. The curses built into the covenant was put there to refine you, to prepare you for the kingdom. Follow me. It's not just physical. These commandments ain't just physical. These laws, you think, oh, it's just about wearing fringes and keeping the Sabbath day and not eating pork. Think higher. Step up your spiritual antennas more. God is preparing you to be the rulers of the next world to come. If you're not a good steward over the little things that he give you to keep, how will you rule the world? How will the other nations look at you as the leaders of this new world if you cannot keep even the little things? Be the men and women that the Lord needs you to be now, so that you're worthy of ruling the world that's to come. Follow me. It's spiritual. All this time you just saw it as laws to keep. You didn't realize you were being prepped for rulership. Follow me. You're being prepped for rulership. God got to work some ways out of you. That comes with the affliction. God got to purge some things out of you. That comes with spiritual maturity. You're going to make some mistakes. God said it like that. He said, I knew you would do that. I knew you would make those mistakes. He had to do it. He's prepping you for rulership. But in your mistake, you're not acknowledging your mistake. You're not being accountable to your mistake. You're making justifications for your mistake. You're trying to defend your mistake. You're not saying, okay, let me learn from this and do what the covenant says. Come back to the covenant. All you're doing is making excuses for breaking the covenant and not taking any accountability. You're not ready for rulership. And if you don't change that now, you won't ever be ready for rulership. Take accountability of what you broke in the covenant. Stop making excuses. Stop using all these hypotheticals. Well, what if this and what if that? You're here. You're a descendant of Jacob. Your job is to keep the covenant and come back to the covenant. It doesn't matter. Oh, well, I wouldn't have known about this if I didn't turn on the TV and see these men teaching the Bible. I wish I didn't know about this. God knew you would come across this. That's why he woke you up. He's prepping you for rulership. You should be happy that he selected you individually to learn about it. Whatever means he used. Whether he used a dog on the street to open his mouth or a donkey to say, you are an Israelite. Or you cite on a laptop or TV or tablet. Whatever means he used. Stop trying to use hypotheticals. Oh, what if I didn't know about this? The point is that you do. You do know about this. So now you have an obligation to come back to the covenant. That's your obligation. But understand, the covenant is more than physical. It's spiritual. It's to prep you for the kingdom. Okay, good. So now, acceptable men, they're tried in the fire of adversity. Okay? So now, God knew you would break it, but he also knows that the judgments thereof. When you read the book of Psalms, chapter 119, it shows you the judgments thereof, they're good. You might say they're bad because you're carnal. You're thinking worldly, and you have no discernment. Let's get that. Psalms 119 and verse 39.
Reading from the book of Psalms 119, verse 39. Turn away my reproach which I fear.
My reproach, meaning your judgments, your punishments. The psalmist says, I fear your punishments. But watch this.
For thy judgments are good.
I said, but on the other hand, your judgments are good. Your punishment is good. How could you come to this level of spiritual understanding that no matter what happens to you, it's good? When you're on that level and you understand that no matter what happens to you, it's good, and you realize God set it in motion to refine you, you will realize that everything that happens into your life, you deserve it. How many of you came to that spiritual understanding yet? Not yet? If you have, then God could work with you. If you haven't come to that understanding as yet, and you think, I don't deserve this. This is not supposed to happen to me. Why is this happening to me? You got a little bit higher to come up. Come up higher. It says, all his judgments are good. Who knows what a judgment is? A judgment is a decision that a ruler makes, whether it's a good judgment or whether it's a bad judgment. All of it, nonetheless, are judgments. Like if you go before the court and they give you a judgment and they say, well, we're going to give you a fine. That's a judgment. Or they say, we're going to let you go. That's a judgment. The judgment worked in your favor. But in some cases, the judgment does not work in your favor. They give you a judgment that you don't like. But nonetheless, the judgment is good. In other words, the judgment is fair. It's fair. It's fair. You did a crime, you got to do the time. You committed a crime, you have to, so it's fair. But not because you got a judgment means that's the end of your story. Not because you got a judgment means that's the end of your line. You can use the judgment to do what? Take accountability for what you've done, turn it around, and become a better man than you were yesterday. The judgments are good because, hey, when some of us were younger, if some things didn't happen to us, if our parents didn't come down on the way that it came down on us, God knows what some of us would be doing. The judgments are good. When your parents punished you when you were younger, it wasn't for your destruction. We just read that in Baruch chapter 4. He sent you away in captivity not for your destruction, but for your good, to bring you back into covenant relationship with him. Follow me, Israel. So he says, your judgments which I fear, or your reproach which I fear, your punishments, they are good. Okay? So now in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4, it shows you that when it comes to covenant, all right, this separates you from every other nation. Follow me. It's deeper than just keeping physical commandments. You might think, oh, it's just physical commandments. No. This separates you in the eyes of the other nations. Let's get that. Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5.
Reading from the book of Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I have taught you statutes and judgment, even as the Lord my God commanded me, that you should do so in the land whither you go to possess it.
Read on.
Verse 6. Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom.
This is your wisdom. These commandments, these laws are more than physical. These commandments are your wisdom. This is what makes you wise in the eyes of the other nations. This is what separates you. This is what sets you apart. This is what makes you wise, my people. Read on.
Keep therefore and do them, for this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
In the sight of the nations. When the nations look at you, they're supposed to say, my goodness, what a wise and understanding people. How is it that they have so much wisdom? It comes from God. That's why. These commandments that you keep, they're more than just physical things. Stop thinking, oh, well, I come into this truth. I don't want to come because I got to do. You need to step up higher. Step up your spiritual antennas higher. It's not about just keeping physical laws. This is your wisdom in the sight of the other nations. They're supposed to see you and be like, how is it that they have such wealth? Their families are so together. They have a structure that we just can't penetrate. The only thing to do is to just reverence them. We can't get on that level. The only thing to do is to either be like them, reverence them, learn about their God. Let's throw away our idols. You ain't going to see Mr. Chinese man having that on his shelf, that statue of Buddha no more. You're going to see him have a Paleo Hebrew word saying Yahweh. Because he's trying to figure out, how did y'all people get on that level? The only way could be because we're following the commandments of Yahweh. It's your wisdom in the sight of the nations. You didn't realize this covenant was that deep. You thought the covenant was just, oh, God, just give us things to do. No. Follow me. But that's why our people right now, we're lacking wisdom, so you're on the bottom. All the other nations mock you, scorn you. They look at you and laugh. You know why they laugh? One of the reasons why they laugh is because they know you are the most powerful people on the earth. They know you have the most abilities to create everything that you see around here, because they know the whole world is going off of y'all inventions, but y'all not profiting off of it. They're profiting off of everything that y'all set in motion. On the sugarcane fields, the plantation, the cotton fields, all the other nations, they profit. They work you to death. They bleed you of your resources. And you know the funny thing? Even in 2025, we're the primary consumers of everything. That the other nations figured it out. They said, we're going to make companies like Shein. We're going to make companies like these hair companies that these women just love off so much. And you would think these are black-owned companies. No. Most of them are Chinese companies, European companies, but they figured out the code. While y'all in y'all downtrodden state, we're still going to rape, murder, and rob and pillage y'all. Because y'all have not woken up to that you are the kings of this earth. The royalty and princesses of this earth. You haven't realized. Imagine, it says, all of those companies, the profits that they make, dominantly comes from blacks and Hispanics, the Israelites. Wow. So it's not that we don't have money. Follow me. It's not that we don't have money. You have a mismanagement of money. You don't have no wisdom. It says these commandments are your wisdom. So you have resources, but you're not being wise with it. And the only way you're going to be able to actually make a difference, you could come together all you want. They did that in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They came together for the Black Wall Street. They bombed that thing. What was missing out of that? The wisdom. What was missing out of that? What's the wisdom? Read it again. What is the wisdom? The commandments. So you could come together all you want, form all the pro-black movements you want, form all of it. If the wisdom is not there, it will fail. They will bomb it just like how they bombed Tulsa, Oklahoma. Look it up. They bombed Black Wall Street because what was missing was the wisdom of the covenant. It says this covenant, that's your wisdom. That's making you wise, give you great understanding among the other nations. Read on.
We shall hear all these statutes and say, surely this great nation is a wise and understanding people.
Surely they are wise and understanding people. Read on.
Verse 7. For what nation is there so great, who had God so nigh unto them?
Why are they so marveled? Why are they so amazed? Because everything about you is prosperous. Everything about you, everything you touch turns to gold. Everything you do is prosperous because the Lord is advancing your prosperity. Joshua 1:8 shows you that to have good success, you keep the covenant. You keep the covenant. So the other nations are noticing. They say, wait, what God do they serve? We got to know. We got to find out. Let's hurry quick. Excuse me, Israelite man, Israelite woman. Question. I have a list of gods here, stemming from Buddha, go all the way down. Which one of them you serve? And you say, no. We do not serve any one of those gods. We serve the one true creator of heaven and earth. His name is Yahweh. And I say, wait, what? Who is this Yahweh? We got to get to know him because look at you guys. You guys are ruling in such excellence. We want to be like you, talk like you, act like you. But the funny thing is, even in our downtrodden state, they still try to be like you. They still try to dress like you, act like you, rap like you, talk like you. They want to be you without the curses. They want to be you without the downtrodden state. They mock your ghetto-ness. You see now, other nations putting in the braids in their hair, plumping up their lips. The women getting BBLs all over. They're trying to look like you without the curses. Because they don't want that part. Everyone wants to be the Israelites, but they don't want the curses. No. We don't want that part. So they would mimic you all day, imitate you all day, everything like you all day, but to actually be you, they don't want that. They cannot afford that because they know they cannot survive that. Check this out. Israelites in the most downtrodden state. You would think that we would diminish, right? Nope. The Lord said he would multiply you like the sand of the sea, even in your downtrodden state. The women in Egypt were trying to figure out what's wrong with these Hebrew women. Why are they so lively? We have them afflicted and they're still giving birth to many babies. Why? The Lord. That's why. But once you're not keeping this covenant, Israel, you're going to find out what's going to happen. Read on.
As the Lord our God is in all things that we call upon him for.
Good. So now, the other nations, they're supposed to look at you and realize the magnificence that shines forth from you. But imagine that. You can't even have your own house in order. How are they going to look at you and they're going to marvel at you? The least thing you crash out for. How the other nations going to marvel at you? You don't even know how to be in order as a nation. You know what the other nations fear? When they see militant men of y'all nation standing together in solidarity, right? And y'all actually in order, y'all have a order and a structure that y'all follow, which is the command. They fear that. They don't want to see that because that's y'all wisdom in their sight. They don't want y'all to organize and centralize. No. And y'all in order. Y'all not sleeping with one another wives. Y'all not whoring out sisters. Y'all taking control of your families. You brothers being heads of your households the right way. You're leading women into righteousness. They don't want that. That means no crack don't get sold in the neighborhoods because y'all brothers ain't smoking crack no more. Y'all brothers ain't bugging yourself out and smoking weed no more because now your mind is sober, like the scripture says, be sober-minded. Now your brothers is actually thinking straight. Now your brothers is actually looking after your families. Now your brothers is actually managing your finances and you got your priorities together. They don't want that. They want you to stay the same like you've been always doing so that you never inherit nothing that the Most High has for you. That's what they want. That's what you're experiencing right now. Right? So now, the Most High, when he establishes that covenant or reestablishes it, that's when you've been fully refined. But you got to go through it right now. All right? So the book of Deuteronomy 28. Now, many of you may not have noticed this. The famous Deuteronomy 28 that we always go to when we teach. This may have missed some of you. Let's get that. Deuteronomy 28. Let's start from verse 9. This may have went over some of your heads. Now, I'm about to make a statement. And some of you may agree and you may not agree. But it's in the scripture. So whether you want to believe it or not, it's there. Read that for me.
Read it from the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 9.
Read on.
The Lord shall establish thee a holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee. If thou shalt keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, and walk in his ways.
Walk in his ways. Read on.
Verse 10. And all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Lord, and they shall be afraid of thee.
They shall be?
Afraid of thee.
They shall be?
Afraid of thee.
The other nations are supposed to be afraid of you. You may not agree with this statement. It's right there in the scriptures. Now, what does that mean? They're supposed to be afraid of you. They're supposed to look upon the Israelites and have such a fear for Yahweh that it comes through you because of the way you keep this covenant, the way you keep these commandments. The fear of the Lord comes upon them because of you and how you serve your God in fear and trembling. So in other words, if you're in such order that you follow the covenant to a T, and you show that you have fear of the Lord, that fear will resonate through you unto them. And they're supposed to fear you because they should know if they dare ever touch you while keeping the commandments, what should happen to them. Follow me, Israel. Step up higher. It's another secret in the covenant that a lot of people missed. The other nations are not supposed to be buddy with you. They are supposed to fear you. That's how they're supposed to learn about God, through you, through fearing you. Let's put it this way. They learn about Yahweh, your God, through their fear of you. You know why that's a parallel? The secrets of the covenant first comes when you do what to the Lord? Okay. Follow me, Israel. So if you're supposed to have that fear and reverence for the Lord, and that's how you really worship him and serve him, if the other nation's supposed to serve and bow down to you, like the scriptures say, they're also supposed to fear you the way you fear God. Follow me. Why? Because you would be their God. Follow me. Some of you not ready for that. Their service to you is you being a God over them. That's why God says, ye are gods. It's in the book of Psalms. I ain't talking no craziness. It's just that some of you just ain't ready for that level yet. But in the book of Psalms, it says, ye are gods, but you will die like men. Yes. The word God just means ruler, power. Now, there's only one Yahweh. He's the God of gods or Lord of lords. He reigns in the kingdom of where men don't exist. So he rules over men. He rules over lords. But he said, you are also gods. You are also powers. You're their power. They're supposed to fear you. They can't fear you if they scorn you. They can't fear you the way you carry yourself right now. They can't fear you because to them, you are despicable pieces of crap right now. Why? The way you're living right now. The way you conduct yourself right now. The way you have discarded the covenant right now. They cannot respect you. They don't respect you. They talk in their other language when you come into their stores. They laugh at you. Because to them, you're just a dollar bill to them right now. That's why they open on every single holiday that day. They don't care about no holidays. They're going to open every day. Because you come now, I have it for you now. I have it right here. You want it now? I have it now. All they care about is the money that you're going to spend with them. Israel, how have we fallen from what the scriptures say? They're supposed to fear you by the way you reverence God and keep his covenant. But you have strayed so far from the covenant, you put your feelings over the covenant. You don't care about the covenant because you don't care about God. And that's why the other nations don't care about you. You're supposed to be a reflection of God to the other nations, but you cannot. Not right now. Till you start making some changes. Till you start putting your emotions aside and start honoring back the covenant and putting the covenant above everything else. God says, I place my covenant above my name. That's how important covenant is. He places it above his name. You should place the covenant on such a high standard that that's the only thing that matters to you. Keeping the covenant. Not keeping your emotions. Not keeping your feelings. Dash away feelings. Have you ever seen any scripture in here that says, follow thy emotions, they will lead you the right way. Follow thy heart, it will lead you the right way. Do what thy mind wilt. Do what your mind tells you to do. Have you, maybe I'm missing something. Have anyone ever seen a scripture that says that? Never. And you will never see it. But for many of us, when you're going through your fields and you're going through your little, what you do? You do what you want to do. You do what you feel like because you don't honor covenant. The Lord honors those that honors covenant. Tell yourself this. If you're that kind of person, that you honor your feelings and your emotions over the covenant, you're not ready to rule in the next kingdom. He cannot give you the keys. You will not be one that inherits it. The scriptures say it all the time. You are not worthy of the kingdom. It says it. So if you want to be worthy, Israel, you want the other nations to fear you. But I don't want the other nations to fear me. You're not ready to rule. Because guess what's going to be going on in the kingdom? The Israelites ruling over the other nations. So that means you ain't ready for that. Well, I don't want to rule over the nations. You're not ready for the truth. You're not ready for the kingdom. You're not ready for the keys to be handed of rulership over to you. You're not ready for that. You don't know what the truth is about. These secrets have been hid from your eyes. The spiritual level that the Most High calling you up on, you can't reach up there. Right? So now, they're supposed to be afraid of you. Let's get the book of Matthew 5 and verse 14. It shows you clearly, you are supposed to be the example unto the rest of the world. But what are you showing them right now? What do you display right now? What is your tenacity to display what is in the covenant? You're supposed to be a reflection of the covenant. When they look at you, they're supposed to see the covenant. And it says that in the word. We're going to show you that. Read that. Matthew 5 and verse 14.
Reading from the book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse 14. Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid.
You're supposed to be the light of the world. The other nations are supposed to look at you in awe and amazement. Why? You're supposed to be a reflection of the covenant. When they look at you, they're supposed to see the covenant that makes them say, I got to know this God that y'all are serving. What's his name? But right now, what are you reflecting? That's the question you should ask yourself. What are you reflecting? Are you reflecting royalty? Because of your emotions and your feelings, you're just reflecting self. If you're reflecting self right now, it means you're not a reflection of Christ, you're not a reflection of the covenant, and you're not a reflection of the Most High. And you're not a reflection of you being a steward over the kingdom that's to come. Okay? Now watch this. We mentioned that you're supposed to be a reflection of the covenant. In the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 3, it shows you clearly you're supposed to exude the covenant coming from you. Let's get that. 2 Corinthians chapter 3, and let's start from verse 3.
Reading from the book of 2 Corinthians chapter 3 verse 3. For as much as ye are manifestly declared to be the epistles of Christ, ministered by us, written not with ink.
Written not with ink. So you're supposed to be manifesting, right, this covenant coming from you, but not written with ink. Read on.
But with the Spirit of the living God.
With the Spirit of the living God. It's supposed to shine forth from you. But what are they seeing right now? What are the other nations seeing right now? Read on.
Not in tablets of stone.
Not in tables of stone of the original covenant, how it was written. Read on.
But in the fleshly tablets of the heart.
But in the fleshly tablets of the heart, of the mind. The actions that come forth from you. That's what the other nations are supposed to be seeing. The covenant coming through you. All right? Good. So now, you're supposed to be that spiritual portal. Now follow me. I need you to step up higher just for a second. You're supposed to be the spiritual portal of God in the earth to these other nations. You are the access point of Yahweh to the other nations. That's why we carried around something called the Ark of the Covenant. In the Ark of the Covenant, the covenant was in there, and it had cherubims built into each corner of the ark. And if anybody touched that, they would die. If you are supposed to be the portal or the access point of Yahweh in the earth for the other nations, if the other nations touch you, they're supposed to what? Die! Did you know that? You didn't know that. We're going to show you that. Let's get the book of Revelation chapter 11 and verse 19. So the ark is still there. You're going to, should you make it, you're going to, these things are going to be revealed unto you. The Lord will reveal some things unto us. This is one of the things he revealed. Revelation 11 and verse 19. Let's get that.
Reading from the book of Revelations chapter 11 verse 19.
Watch this.
And the temple of God was open in heaven.
It was open in heaven.
And there was seen in his temple the ark of his testament.
The ark of the covenant. Read on.
And there was lightnings and voices and thunderings and the earthquake and an earthquake and great hail.
Because surrounding that ark, the lightnings and the thunderings and all of these elements, it signifies the power in that covenant that lays in that ark. The power of that covenant. But if that power is supposed to be coming forth from you, if you're supposed to be a reflection of this covenant, and should the other nations touch you, just the way if any man touched that covenant, that ark of the covenant when it was here on earth, if any man touched it, they would die. If any other nations touch you, that's what's supposed to happen to them. Because in the book of Zechariah chapter 2, it shows you that once you touch the apple of his eye, you touch him. If you touch Israel, that's the apple of his eye. How many of you knew that? Let's get that. Zechariah 2 and verse 8.
Reading from the book of Zechariah chapter 2 and verse 8.
Pay attention.
For thus said the Lord of hosts, after the glory had he sent me unto the nation which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you, toucheth the apple of his eye.
He that toucheth you, toucheth the apple of his eye. What does that mean? The nations that spoiled you, the nations that put you in captivity. If you're supposed to be a portal to the Most High for the other nations, and you're supposed to exude the covenant coming from you. Touching you would be likened unto touching the ark of the covenant if the covenant is supposed to be shown and exonified and personified through you. It says if you touch Israel, you touch the apple of his eye. And that's why all the other nations that did that to us, put us in captivity, they're going to pay one day for what they did. It says it in the covenant. They're going to pay. It says it in Deuteronomy 30 that he's going to turn our captivity, and all these curses that came upon us is going to go on them. It says it. But now, how could you be a reflection of this covenant if right now you're not living out the covenant? You're not exemplifying the covenant. You're not illustrating the covenant in the way that you live. Israel, it's time to come back to the covenant. You've seen these secrets coming out of the covenant. You've seen how the other nations are supposed to reverence you and fear you. You thought it was just commandments. You thought it was just, these laws we got to keep. It's deeper than that. Follow me. Good. So it says, if you touch Israel, you touch the apple of his eye. You're supposed to be the the ark, or the representation of the ark of the covenant in the earth for these other nations. Right? So now, covenant. Built into the covenant is a turning back to the covenant. Yes, you've strayed. Yes, the curses have been brought to bring you back into relationship with God. Now, built into the covenant, we can see in Jeremiah chapter 3, is a turning back. But more importantly, I'll show you something about covenant. Jeremiah 3 and verse 14. Watch this.
Reading from the book of Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 14. Turn, O backsliding children, said the Lord.
So it says to turn. You're instructed to turn or to repent or to come back to the covenant. Read on.
For I am married unto you.
Oh, wait. I am what?
For I am married unto you.
Don't you know there's a precept that God said he hates divorce? He hates divorce. Let me give you a little secret. The only reason why divorce was built into the covenant was for the stiff-neckedness and the hardness of your hearts. When somebody wants to commit adultery, when somebody wants to get away from their spouse, but God didn't design for that to happen in the kingdom. In this world that's prone to human error, he had to build that into this covenant that we in right now, that error, because of the hardness of our hearts. But God said he hates divorce. And that's what you see coming out here in Jeremiah chapter 3. The Lord is telling Israel to do what? Turn back, because he said he's married to you. God doesn't go back on his covenant. You may go back on your covenant. You may disannul your vow. God doesn't disannul his vow. You may turn and use your emotions to say, I don't want to be in this thing no more. God doesn't do that. But imagine if God did that. Imagine if God treated us the way we treat him, by just going with our feelings, waking up one morning and deciding, I don't want nothing to do with you no more, and I'm disannulling the covenant, I'm disannulling the vow. You would never get the kingdom. There would be nothing to look forward to. If the Most High did us the way we did him, there would be no hope for Israel. Think of it this way. You are committed and obligated to the covenant. The covenant is for life. That's why he built this in through the prophets to tell y'all to return. Come back. You may have strayed, but I remember the covenant that I have with you, and you should remember it too. Don't give it up just because of feelings. God doesn't operate like that. And this is how you know if you have the Holy Spirit or not. If you're willing to walk away from the covenant that you've made before God, just because of your feelings, you don't have the Holy Spirit. You have fleshly thoughts. You have human thoughts. God doesn't do away with his covenant. That's why he sent Christ to do what? Be the mediator to bring us back into the covenant with him. He had the backup plan. Follow me. So he said, turn, backsliding Israel, come back. He said, I am what?
Married unto you.
I am what?
Married unto you.
God said he's married unto you, meaning this is for life, Israel. God said in the book of Jeremiah 31, Should the sun shine and the moon start giving its light, that's when Israel will cease to be a people. And you know the sun is not going to stop shining. You know that. So that means that Israel will not stop being a people to God. He does not go back on covenant, and neither should you. That's why he told you, turn back, go back. It's your job to go back. He ain't saying you ain't going to stray. Yeah, you're going to stray. He said, I knew you would have strayed. We read that in the Apocrypha. You would stray. But now he's instructing you to do what? Come back. Read on.
And I will take you one of a city and two of a family, and will bring you to Zion.
I will bring you to Zion, to the new kingdom. So now, you're going to find that when it comes to the covenant, after you've gone through the refining, after you've learned what you got to learn, you've taken accountability, you've decided to turn back to the marriage as the Lord told you to, not give up your covenant, honor your covenant. This is deeper than commandments, deeper than physical things. This is spiritual maturity, spiritual building. The other nations are supposed to fear you in the presence of seeing you. The way you honor this covenant, the covenant is supposed to exude from you, illuminate from you. You're the ark of the covenant in the earth for the other nations. Should they touch you, they should die. Now in Ezekiel 20, right, it shows you that refining will come to a head, right? Even in the wilderness. Let's get that. Ezekiel 20 and verse 37.
Reading from the book of Ezekiel, chapter 20 and verse 37. I will cause you to pass under the rod.
I will cause you to pass under the rod. It's talking about the rod of correction. Correction. Read on.
And I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
Now the bond of the covenant is talking about the new covenant. A better covenant. A covenant that once you enter into this new covenant, you cannot break it. It's unbreakable. Because you would have attained that level of going through all the refining just to get to this point. All the learning and accountability that you took right now, which you should, and he said to turn back, you should turn back. But you're going to go through some things when you turn back. You're going to go through some hardships, some challenges when you turn back. But it's to refine you. But when you get to this point, and he brings you into the bond of the covenant, this new covenant, this better covenant, this new covenant is now written where? On your heart, in your mind. But for him to do that, you got to go through some stuff. Watch what you got to go through. Even a further purging. Watch this. Read on.
Verse 38. And I will purge out from among you the rebels.
He's going to purge out from among you the rebels in the wilderness. Read on.
And them that transgressed against me.
So there's going to be an example for y'all to follow when you get to the wilderness of what not to do. Because you're going to see people dying in the wilderness because the rebels are being purged out. There's a further refining that's going to happen. So don't give in to this notion that once you've made it to the wilderness, you've now made it safe and you're now home safe. No, there's still a further refining that needs to take place. And that further refining is to see if you're really worthy to be handed over the keys to the kingdom. Read on.
I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourned, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel.
They shall not enter into the land of Israel, because in that land of Israel, that new kingdom that we're going to be inhabiting, in order to enter that, no rebels can enter there. No one that's breaking laws can enter there. Read on.
And ye shall know that I am the Lord.
And you shall know that he is Yahweh. So you got to understand something. That further refining that's going to take place, it's going to happen in the wilderness. So from now till when you get there, everything that you go through is to refine you. But tell yourself you got to be a reflection of the covenant. The covenant is supposed to shine forth from you. That even when the other nations see you, they got to ask, what God do you serve? Are you doing that right now? Are you exhibiting such a level of the covenant that it makes other nations stop and stare like, wow, these are honorable men and women, right? Is your household in order? Because if your household not in order, you can't rule no kingdom. How are you going to rule the world if you can't rule your household? Right? So there's a lot of things you got to do to get on that level before the refining can start. And this is where it starts. All right? So now, you're going to find that when the Most High actually hands over the keys to us and give us power over the nations. Let's get that in Revelations 2 and verse 26.
Reading from the book of Revelations, chapter 2 and verse 26. And he that overcometh and keepeth my word unto the end, to him will I give power over the nation.
This is so heavy right here. It says, to he that overcometh. Overcomes what? What are you overcoming? You're overcoming what? Dying to self. Overcoming what? Dying to fleshly desires, dying to sin. Overcoming what? Your lusts, your own human thoughts, your desire to think in a humanistic way or a logical way. Put aside your human thoughts and take up the things of the Most High and think the way that He thinks. Overcome your troubles in the flesh. Overcome your troubles in this truth. Overcome taking up your cross and carrying your burden and still keeping these commandments. That no matter how hard it gets, you're going to give it your best shot. Overcoming all of that. Overcoming you not reflecting or exuding the covenant right now, you got to overcome that. You got to overcome the things that has been set forth to refine you. The things that, the uncomfortable parts of the truth that you don't like, you got to overcome that. And once you overcome that, and it says, keepeth his works to the end. Keep the commandments to the end. It says, to you I will give power over the nations. But currently right now, Israel, we do not have what it takes to have power over the nations if you can't, one, rule your own spirit. He cannot give you power over the nations. And two, if you can't even rule your own household, you can't even get your wife under control, he cannot give you power over the nations. If you can't even rule inside your own house, your own children, if those under your roof ain't even keeping the commandments, how? You got to get that in check first, then he can give you power over the nations. Because he would see that you're fit to be a good ruler. Should you give rulership to someone who's a bad ruler? Who can't rule nothing? No, that would be irresponsible of God. Follow me. He got a seat coming from you that you're a great ruler. You take instructions well. You submit to leadership well. You follow instructions and commandments and laws well. This is spiritual. This ain't physical. He got to see those attributes coming from you. And it's not so much about what you do. It's about the spirit behind it. Your ability and your tenacity to follow what's in the covenant without questioning it. Oh, well, why this got to be like this? Well, what if I find a loophole here? Or what if there's a loophole in the covenant here where I don't have to do this? Or maybe you ain't ready to be no ruler over no other nations if you got to question the covenant. When I first came into the truth, everything that I read, I wasn't like, well, I just can't just... I read it and I believed it. You got to be the same way too. And even if you don't understand it, rock with it till the Most High gives you the understanding. Because what I've learned is that understanding ain't always for right now. Sometimes you're not meant to understand it now, but down the road. It's called growth. What you understand tomorrow is not what you would have understood today. Sometimes the Most High saves up your understanding for down the road. So if you're young in the truth, don't feel like you need to know everything right now. Just rock with what the covenants say. Just do it. If you be faithful over it, you can be a good steward over what he's going to give you down the road. You cannot be a good steward over what he give you right now if you're questioning everything. You cannot be a good steward over anything right now if you always got to doubt everything. Lack faith in everything. You don't believe what you're reading. You're questioning what you're reading. How are you going to be a good steward over down the road when he has greater things for you? So if you can't even believe the little things, how are we going to trust you with greater things? It doesn't work that way. So, to rule over the other nations, you got to be able to exude the covenant right now by ruling your spirit, ruling your household right, so that he can proudly give you those keys to rule over the other nations. So now, the covenant was not made to make us religious. It was made to make us rulers. Again, the covenant was not made to make us religious or to be ritualistic and to follow a set of rules. It was made to make you rulers. Listen to me closely. It's not about becoming better church members. That means you ain't really open up to the truth yet. It's not about becoming better church members. It's about being trained in righteousness to inherit the government under Christ. Follow me. The covenant was never about what we do. It's about who we become. Y'all can pick up that? It's not about what we do. It's about who we become. So most people think that the covenant is just a checklist of laws, but it's actually a process of spiritual transformation. The law is the chisel and we are the stone. Again, the law is the chisel and we are the stone. So when it comes to the Bible and the covenant, it's not just about Bible stories. It's your life, your suffering as a people, your awakening as a people, and your inheritance as a people. That's what it's about. Again, it's your life as a people in this Bible, your suffering in this Bible, but subsequently your awakening, and then ultimately your inheritance. And we're going to end it there today. Kal halal Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. Our praises. Let's give it up for the Most High Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. That's right. All praises. So we're going to end it there today. I pray that you come up on a higher spiritual level. Stop seeing things as just a checklist of laws and rules to follow. This is deeper than that. This is spiritual. This is you training to become rulers. And tell yourself, to become rulers, you got to first be avid followers and keepers of the covenant. That's how you become rulers. That's how you get the keys handed over to you proudly. You understand that? So, all praises to the Most High. We thank you for joining us on today's Sabbath class. We pray that the Most High opens up your understanding on a higher spiritual plateau so you can understand. And when we were talking about how the sufferings of Israel points to the suffering of Christ, remember one thing. Israel is also termed as the firstborn of Yahweh. That's why Christ is also termed as the firstborn son of the Most High God. There's a spiritual parallel between Israel and Christ and the sufferings that we suffered and the sufferings that he suffered. He showed us how to die with honor and being blameless. The question is, between now and whenever you die, will you follow Christ's example of being blameless before you die and keeping the covenant? Will you? So that you can live again. Like the scripture said, we live again. But when you live again, are you going to hear the words, depart from me, for I never knew you? Or will you be handed over the keys to the kingdom in a proud manner that the Most High can be proud? All praises. So with that, we close out. It looked like we got a question online. No? Okay, all praises. So with that, we're going to close out. Shalom Israel, Most High in Christ bless.